I don't need that. I think we're all good. We're in close quarters. So this is the first time I've seen you all in a while. Since the stoppage, since the second placement, all of the things. We've got a lot to cover. We're going to try to do it efficiently, and I'll take any questions. We'll cover everything that we need to cover. So we're going to talk about the capstone interview today, and then I'm going to go over a few more things. Understood? Everybody good with that? All right, so the capstone interview. The capstone is part of the requirements in order to fulfill the student teaching requirement, the overall semester requirement. You had to do 2 placements, you have to submit your TPA and complete that successfully, and then we also have the capstone. And what the capstone is it's an interview. They used to, the very first semester I came, I called it the social studies fair. And it was set up, and you had these tables all around the John Morris room, and everybody had a trifold, and they talked about their unit. And we had judges that went around, like a social studies fair. And so how do you think all of the elementary trifolds looked? It looked awesome, because they were LRC, cranking stuff out, you know. And then the secondary ones, they were okay. They looked like somebody that taught high school did it. And then we had a few who would come in, and they would come in flying in, and there was glue running down the front of it because they'd done it that morning. Okay. So after I saw all of that, I was like, do you really think that's beneficial? And so we had a discussion. And so then we kind of came up with this, the way we do it now. It's an interview setting. It's more like going on a job interview is basically what it is. It's a pre-job interview. So we're going to go over some ins and outs on this today. I'm going to show you guys what the rubric looks like. I'm going to show you what the questions look like. There are no secrets with this. You should be able to fully prepare for this interview and do an awesome job if you just pay attention. So, all right, so what is it? It's a formal question and answer. You guys have the opportunity to discuss your strengths, your weaknesses from your first student teaching experience. Okay, so you're going to be asked goals, most successful and most unsuccessful aspects of your unit, the design of your unit based on your data, and then areas for self-improvement. All right. This is going to be a little different than what we've had in the past because everybody's unit maybe got a little messed up, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. This has been one of those experiences that, like, in 10 years, we'll be like, hey, do y'all remember the strike of 2018? You remember those students we had then? Yeah, I know. It was a major deal. You see what I'm saying? This is something that you're going to carry with you, but this has done nothing but make you better. I promise you that. It shows you what flexibility really is. Okay? So that is what the capstone interview is. There's a judging panel. The panel is usually 2 to 3 persons. We pull in faculty from Marshall, public school supervisors, and university supervisors, which are always super helpful. The panels are random. They're randomly selected. And you're typically, if we can get away from it, not with someone that you've had. Like you're not with a university supervisor that you've had, or not with a principal that you've worked under, or not with you may possibly be with a faculty that you've had for class, but you are not likely going to be with people who you work directly with. They are instructed on the scoring prior to. They understand, they have all the questions, they have the rubric, they understand what is needed. So, they're on top of things. And more often than not, they've done this before for me. Because we've been doing this, I think this will be the 6th semester, so. All right, so how is it scored? I'm going to show you the rubric in just a moment. It's scored on a 1 to 4. 4 being the best, 1 being the worst. The items that are scored are speaking skills, central ideas, your nonverbal elements, listening skills, professional dispositions like dress and punctuality and whether you're prepared or not, and you have to get at least a 3.0. Now let me make this clear. You have to get a 3.0. If you get a 2.9, I have to call you and say, you got a 2.9, you're going to have to come in and redo this with a different panel every semester. Okay? So that's why it's really important to review the rubric, know what the rubric is and what the expectations are, and to practice this. I'm just going to say that. Practice it. Last semester, I think I had 5 that had to redo. Previous semesters, we've had about that many. So this is not something where everybody goes in and everybody passes it. Okay, just so you know. And I will just say, the ones who had to redo it will say it's because I wasn't prepared. It's because I didn't do what I needed to do. So this is how you prepare for this. You're going to think about the questions and how to answer all the parts, not just pieces, all of the question. You're going to bring evidence. Because we moved, I'm going to talk about that in a minute too. I used to have a few things that I kept from previous semesters to show you all, but they've gotten packed away or lost. You need to bring evidence to supplement your answers. Some students will just bring a laptop or bring an iPad. They'll have pictures on there or videos on there or charts on there. That's great. It's all there. Others will bring a folder or a binder, a handout, something like that. That's okay too. I'll just say this, the judges will take those home and then they probably throw them away. My husband gives me his and says, hey, you want to put these in your drawer? So I think digital is easier, probably. It's more efficient, it's cleaner, it looks better. So something else you really have to do is you have to practice. You have to work on your timing. You have to work on your speech and be able to answer the questions and not get flustered while you're answering them. You have to be able to discuss areas of self-improvement. Do not say, so what is something you could improve on? Nothing. It happens every semester. That's why I'm telling you all this. Nothing. Everything was great. My unit was awesome. Everyone made 100%, and I am pretty much the best student teacher ever. Okay, great. 0. So know that. Dress professionally. It's a job interview. Okay. I have seen mostly the boys will wear a shirt and tie, wear a nice dress shirt, nice pants, looking nice. Don't wear a zip-up hoodie. That happened once or twice. Don't wear jeans. They're not allowed anyway. You need to dress for a job interview. You need to dress professionally. One time a student came in and Tanya, that's my secretary, was walking them back, and I was actually escorting her, and she said, you told them what to wear. And I was like, yeah. And this girl walked in and she had on jeans and a pink t-shirt. I'll never forget. And I thought, that's interesting. Would you wear that to a job interview? No. So you need to dress professionally. You need to plan on arriving 15 minutes early. I would say 15 to 30 minutes early, because here's what will happen. Somebody will not be on time, and they will just move ahead and skip them, and they can go ahead and take you. And you're not sitting out there forever. Or somebody might run ahead of schedule. They can go ahead and move you on back. Okay? So you need to be early. My dad always said, if you start work at 4 o'clock, you need to be there at 3:45. And I thought, why? I worked at a grocery store. I was in high school. And he was like, no, you really need to be there early. And it's good. It's a good professional habit. Who here has learned to be early this semester? Yeah. Because the first time that you show up at school and you're going to make copies before school starts, but the copier is torn up, or there's 3 people in front of you and you don't get to do it, you'll learn to be early, right? Okay, so the schedule. We are tentatively scheduling for the week of April 16th, okay? Typically what we do is we run those for 3 days, 3 to 4 days, depending upon how many small rooms I can get upstairs here. And you'll be notified of your appointment by April 12th. I'll send everyone an email. It'll be individual. This is the day, this is the time, this is the place, this is the panel of judges, okay? You'll get that email by the 12th. If you have any day in that week of the 16th that you really can't do this, you've had a doctor's appointment scheduled for 2 weeks, or 2 months, you've got the praxis scheduled, you're going to not be in town, something is going on, email me and let me know, and I'll take care of it. Also, If you have had maybe a disagreement with a faculty and you don't feel comfortable with them being on your panel, you can send me an email. It's private. It's just you and I who know this because I set all of it up. Or a disagreement with somebody in the, somebody that you think might be judging you for this. You can send it to me and I will make sure they are not on your panel. Okay? I feel like that's more than fair. Okay. All right. So let me show you what we're talking about here. The first thing I'm going to show you, if you go to our PLC site, you can access this anytime. It's there. So if you look under Capstone, possible interview questions and rubric, and just click, okay, there's the questions. So these are the questions that everybody gets. And I'm just going to go over these really quickly with you and then you can pull them out. When you began your student teaching experience, what goals did you set for yourself and for your students? Tell us about your unit. What did your unit focus on? What were the most and least successful activities and assessments? Why do you think they were successful or not successful? How could you redesign your instruction to make it more successful? And how would these changes improve your student learning? Why did you design your unit or your instruction the way that you did? Did you use your data and how did you use it? What evidence do you have that your students achieved their goals? And what are 2 areas for self-improvement that you could focus on? And what steps could you take to improve in those areas? Let's look at that last question. Who can think of 2 things they can improve on right now? Me too. Okay, that's easy. That's a question where everybody should be able to get 4s. All right. So let's look at the rubric real quick. And if you look at the rubric and look at the questions, they kind of go in order. Okay. And like I said, you guys can access this, print it out, go over it. The first right here is diction and vocal inflection, and then language and grammar. All right. I always tell this little story. So, y'all know I'm from Wayne, right? We talked about this. Okay. However, I try to rein that in most of the time. Okay. Now, if I'm talking to my cousin who is more country than me, and it's Saturday night, and we're just hanging out on the porch, then I've got my honky tonk voice on. All right? I'm just cool. I'm just chilling. Now, if I'm here, and maybe Dr. Gilbert walked in, I would have my presidential voice. Do you guys see how that changed just really quickly? Okay. Be careful. All right? Be careful with your grammar. Please be careful with your grammar, because some people are grammar police, and they're going to be like, oh, are you kidding me? And they will immediately mark you down on things like that. So definitely watch your grammar, watch the language that you use. Don't talk too quickly, enunciate your words. All right, now moving down, we've got central ideas in this meat portion of this rubric. So it's analysis of student teaching goals, insights on instruction and assessment, implications for future teaching, consideration of content and instruction. And like I said, you guys can pull this and see this a lot clearer. Interpretation of student learning and implications for professional and personal improvement. Okay? Now, that one right there, where I said identifies 2 areas, okay? Identifies more than 2 areas, and lists or describes a plan to improve those. That's a 4. More than 2 is a 4. 2 is a 3. Okay? Now, what did I say you guys had to get on this? 3 overall. All right, so here are things where you could easily get 4s that could offset any 2 you might get. Okay? Down here. Nonverbal, movement, gestures, facial expressions, eye contact, mannerisms. Make eye contact with people. Don't do weird things. You know what I'm saying. One time, this girl had on this necklace. And it was long necklace. If you don't typically wear a big long necklace, don't pick that day to wear one, because she just did this the whole time. It was so distracting to me that I could not focus on anything else. Another time, I had a gentleman who looked very nice, had on a shirt and tie. He starts talking, and sweat beads started popping out. And by the time it was over, it was really like he'd been out in the rain. I've never seen it like just soaking wet. That's distracting. One time, obviously, one time a student was talking and I was watching the red hives just climb up her. I thought I was going to have to call 911. One of my best friends, she teaches kindergarten, and she is just this fun, awesome person and can talk in front of any kid. But if she has to talk in front of an adult, she's teach Title I, so she would have to do these trainings. She would get really nervous. And so we would call it the redneck. She would get the redneck. And it was awful. And so she'd always just wear a scarf. And so if she came in with a scarf, I was like, oh, you got to do something today? You know, you're going to present today? And so just be aware of those things. That's why I tell you all to practice. All right? Practice for your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your mom, your dad, your husband, your mom, your kids, anybody who will listen to you. Just say, I need to practice this with you. The bottom one is like, candidate displays an exceptional ability to listen and understand as demonstrated by nonverbal cues and appropriate responses. 2 ears, 1 mouth, right? If the panel is asking you questions, you need to listen, think, respond. Okay? Don't be, there's so many people I know who are thinking of the answer or thinking about how they're going to respond before you can even ask the question. You guys know those people. Don't be those people. Think, listen, think, and then respond. Okay? This is the rubric. If you'll notice on the bottom, there are items listed: punctual, well-groomed, prepared, stays within time cues, maintains confidentiality, remains on topic, and dresses appropriately. Now, these are 2 things from that we need to talk about. You have a 30-minute window. Okay? This needs to be 20-ish minutes. Okay? That gives the panel 5 extra minutes to kind of talk to you about some questions or anything, you know, that they may want clarification on, and then time for them to discuss the score and then move on. Okay? So keep it at 20-ish when you're practicing. Confidentiality. Don't be like, so I've got this student, so I had this student, he was great, his name's Joe Smith, and he goes to Southside Elementaries in the 3rd grade, and don't do that. All right? Yes, ma'am.
If you have examples of student work, the name has to be marked out.
Please block the name.
Entirely.
Yeah. These are always things that come up after the fact that we always seem to have some issues with. So make sure you take care of those things. This is not, you know, obviously you're not having a parent conference about a child. You are talking to strangers about what kind of teacher you are and giving examples of how well you handle things. Yes?
And we'll use a reference to our first placement only?
For the most part, yeah, because you're going to talk about your unit, you're going to talk about all of your data and all that. Now, they may say, hey, how's your second placement going? Or where are you at now? Or what are you doing now? And when you're talking about things you could work on, you could say, you know, in my first placement, I really felt like I struggled with classroom management, but now that I've moved on to my second placement in such and such grade or such and such school, I really feel like I'm getting a better handle on things. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can obviously mention it. Yes?
Do you get your score like that day or?
That's what I was getting ready to say too. Typically we do this on like a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So Tanya will take all of those and she does all the scores for me, you know, does all the figuring. And then I try to get those scanned on that Friday if I'm in the office, and then I try to get them sent out by the Monday. So obviously if you are in the, if you don't pass, you're, you know, in that section there, I'll be in touch with you very quickly about getting rescheduled and getting you to come in, okay?
So you would be called before Monday?
Yeah. As soon as she scores them, typically like let's say you do yours on Wednesday and she comes back to the office and gets those scored and there's somebody who didn't pass, she'll go ahead and have it on my desk and I'll be like, hey, I'll call you, hey, listen, you didn't pass, but we're going to reschedule for this date this time. Okay. All right, I think that the main thing here is just to have some confidence, but let's not be overly confident. Does that make sense? I think that the fact of the matter is that everyone here is on the same playing field. Everyone here's new. Everyone here's fresh at this. Nobody here's an expert at teaching, so you shouldn't act like you are. Do you guys want to add anything about maybe some ones in the past who maybe haven't done so well or maybe have done well and why you think they've done well?
Chewing gum.
Chewing gum. Oh my gosh. Do not have gum in your mouth. Do not bring a coffee in, even though I love to have one. Don't bring it in. Be very professional.
Turn your phone off.
Turn your phone off. That's another thing. Wow.
Stand on both of your feet and stay there. Don't cross your feet and your legs, don't.
Yeah, that's distracting. I mean, if you're going to sit down at the table, you know, across from the judge, then sit down. Don't be swinging. Don't be kicking your shoes off or doing stuff like that. If you're going to stand while you're doing yours, just stand. Be professional. I think that for the most part, for people who have not done well, they haven't prepared, and they'll admittedly say, "I didn't prepare," or they are overly confident. Especially like when asked, you know, what are some things you can work on? Nothing. Oh yeah, okay. Well, you can work on being humble, you know. So one thing you can work on. So anyway, that is that. If you are going to talk about something, you need to have an artifact. I'll just say that. So let's say you're going to talk about the growth. You're going to talk about your student growth, okay, in their scores. You've already done those charts. Flip those up. Have those on your computer. Have those on your iPad. Let me just reiterate this. I'm not going to have a computer and I'm not going to have an iPad over there. So if you have something, you have to bring it. I would suggest if you're practicing, you practice with your technology because we all know how that goes sometimes. Last semester, this didn't even work when I did this seminar, if that tells you anything. Savannah. Okay, I'm going to talk about that. It's on my to-do list here. Yes, David?
Will this be during school time or after school time?
During school time. We typically start around 9. We typically end around 3:30. What I will do is, you know, if you need a certain time, if you'd rather go first thing in the morning or at the end of the day, shoot me an email. We'll take care of that. And just know this. So let's say you have the 9 o'clock appointment. Obviously, you don't need to go to school at 8 that morning and then get here at 8:30 and then, you know, just come here and then go. You know, if you have any question about whether you should go to school first or this and that, just let me know. We'll figure it out. Okay?
This week is during my unit.
Okay.
So that's why I'm asking.
Yeah. So and that's why I tell you guys, you know, if there's a day or a time that's better or a day or a time that's not going to work, and you just let me know and we'll work around it. Okay? Any other questions about the capstone before we move on? Yes, sir.
I think one big thing that they built this up and is being critical
Yes.
of their placement.
Yes.
That they have in the school or whatever.
I think that is, those words are golden because, and I'm just going to bring this up because I've heard this a few times this week from some placement teachers that we have going on now. You know, these are professional relationships that you are building. Whether it is a great experience or a terrible experience or an okay experience, it's an experience, right? And it's a relationship. And, you know, I've heard current placement teachers say, my student has talked about their first placement teacher like a dog. And I'm really concerned that that is going to happen when they leave me and they're going to talk about me. That's not okay. And nobody wants to hear that. I have sat on committees before where people were trying to get jobs and trying to get hired. One committee in particular. And one of the applicants had worked for the previous lead teacher, and that she was an assistant teacher. And when she was asked if she would do things differently, she said, I would do everything differently because I did not like anything that she did. And guess what? You know, no way. I'm not hiring that person. So You need to be very careful. That was actually one of the things I was going to touch on just as an overall. You know, there are people in here who have had great experiences and they want to share those, and that's awesome. But there are people in here who have had terrible experiences that you would not even believe, and they are still positive. They are still smiling. They are still like gracious about things, and I wouldn't be. So those are learning experiences. Those are opportunities for you to just remember who a professional is. Okay? All right. Any other questions about the capstone? Okay. We're good. Checking this off. All right. Dates, expectations, artifacts, prep, and the week of. Okay. Next thing I want to talk to you about are the TPA. We'll move to that. And then I'll come back. Okay. So if you took option 1 of the TPA, and you submitted your TPA, then it got submitted. Awesome. Great. Those grades are due back to our office from the grader by April the 6th. Okay? I know. You're like, geez. However, you know, our faculty grade them. They're also teaching classes and have labs and all of that. And it takes... I would say it takes a minimum of 3 hours to grade it thoroughly, 3 to 4 hours, and that's just staying on it. I've graded these in the past. It's a lot of work. And so, thank you for being understanding. Has anybody seen any scores come back up on live checks? Like they got a score back or anything? Okay. All right, so here's what will happen. If you submitted in the number 1 group, let's say, the option 1 group, and the scores come back and something needs to be revised, you will get an email from Candace Rowe, and it will say, dear so-and-so, please revise task 2, item this, or task 5, item this, or whatever, or you're going to need to come in and see us because yours is not good and you have to revise the whole thing. Hopefully that doesn't happen. So look for those emails from Candace. The week after April 6th, if you haven't heard anything, shoot me an email and I'll try to find something out. Okay? It's not my deal, but I usually try to help say yes or no. Yes?
If we do need to make revisions, how long do we have?
Okay, that's where I was going with that. You have until the 13th of April to make the revision for the first resubmit, okay? So it's going to run on like a weekly basis after that. Because you could resubmit and they could come back and say, you still got to work on this. And at that point, they typically just want to have a sit down and have a meeting with you and kind of for clarification. That happened twice last semester. So obviously it doesn't happen often, so don't stress about it. So if you have not received something by then, please let me know and we'll take care of it. Okay, we'll move on from there. If you took option 2, it is due on April 13th. In live text, I think it says the 20th for option 2. That is not correct. It is due April 13th. So, you know, we have had correspondence on that. So, if you still need to submit that second option, that's due April 13th, and then that will be sent to graders, and then that will come back, and we're only going to give like a week turnaround on those because there's not very many. Okay. Any more questions on TPA? Yes.
If we had 2 options of where to submit it, did it matter which one we submitted it to?
Do you have a special ed? Okay. No.
Okay.
Just submit it. Somebody emailed me and said, I didn't know where to put it, so I submitted it twice. Okay, that's good. You know, just as long as it turned up. As long as everybody submits something, we're good. How's that? Okay. Any more TPA questions? Okay. All right. Now stuff is not done. Okay, absences. I keep track of absences because you are supposed to notify me of absences. If I find out that you were absent and you did not notify me, it's a plan of improvement. It's a major issue. okay? So you need to be honest and let me know what's going on. That is the first day discussion that we have. Everybody knows that, or should know that. The other day, let's go back to absences. You have to report them, and then the last week of April, I'm going to send you an email, and it's going to say you need to make up X amount of days. Okay. Hopefully, you don't get the email because you don't have any to make up. So I keep them all on a spreadsheet. I keep whether they're excused. I keep all your notes. So I'm pretty much on top of things. If you know you missed a day, be honest. Last semester, I had an issue with somebody who I said, I will let you know during this week, or I'll let you know about the final seminar or something like that. And she and I had already discussed this one absence because it should have never happened. And so then she decided that because I didn't send her a formal, you have to make it up, even though I'd already sent it a month ago, she didn't have to make it up. Okay, well, we don't have to send out your letter of completion because you're not done. You see where I'm going with this? So this is why we have rules. So you have to make up your days. So I'll notify you of the makeup days. For some reason, some people have said, well, I know we have 3 excused absences, and no, you don't. You don't have 3 freebie days. I'm not sure where that comes from. You have 3 days before you're on a plan of improvement. That's maybe where the confusion is. So just know that. So if you have a question about an absence, ask me. I'll clarify for you. It's not a big deal at all. I know that a few of you are probably not really happy with me right now over this whole spring break situation, but we can't make it, I can't make it on an individual basis for 99 people in a room. So if your county has spring break, you have spring break. If your county didn't have spring break, you didn't have spring break. If your county makes teachers go for 2 days and students aren't there, you go for 2 days and students aren't there. Whenever teachers report is when you are there. Now, a lot of you are going to say, but my teacher's not going to be there. Okay, go to the library. Work on your lesson plans. Find something to do. Okay? No, you do have to be there. That's what I'm saying.
Library at the school.
At the school, yeah. I'm like, find another teacher that needs a bulletin board works on, or, needs something organized, or do something. I know a lot of you are looking at me right now and seething, but that's just the rule. That's the rule we've always had, okay? And that is definitely a rule we're going to keep on this. You had 9 days off, right? You didn't get to pick when they were, but you had them off. So everybody's had basically 2 spring breaks already. You might get a 3rd. And it was pretty during one of those weeks. It was pretty the whole week. So if you have any questions about that, the murmurs are happening. Everybody's mad. This is what it happens. If you have any questions, you need to contact me, and I can clarify for you. Now, some people had trips planned. Some people had things going on. Take your trip. Keep your plan. That's okay. But you have to make it the day. And we talked about that. Okay. Professional dress. Guys, I know that we're slacking off, because we're finishing up, we feel like. But that does not change who you are in the classroom. So you know what our professional dress expectations are, and you need to keep those. I will also just add this, that it's going to be starting to get warmer here soon. I have this same conversation in August with my student teachers then. You need to dress appropriately for warm weather. That means you need to watch how much skin is showing. You need to look at what kind of shoes you're wearing. You just need to be appropriate. If you have flip-flops on, but you've got to chase down 25-year-olds, it is not that easy. So you need to really think about that, okay? That's just one slight example. So just make sure everything is covered up and, and we dress professionally. There are days when I really just want to wear yoga pants or I just want to wear jeans or, but I can't. Sometimes I can, but I can't. No. If you have not submitted your contract or your responsibility profile, this is your last warning. If you have not emailed that to me, this is the last time I'm going to ask for it. The next time I ask for it, I'm not going to be nice about it, and it could result in a plan of improvement. I've asked for it twice now, maybe 3 times. Most of you have emailed it to me. I've checked them off. If you're not checked off, we're going to have trouble. You access that on the PLC site. It's not a big deal. I just need to make sure everybody is on the same page and everybody is doing what they need to do. Because this is serious. This is not the first placement. This is the second placement. We should see lots of teaching right now. So there's that. Everyone's live text should be updated. If your live text is not updated, please email me. Because I tried to get all of those updated on Monday. I had to hunt up some email addresses, make sure everybody was on the, on the up and up. The dates are wrong. The last date is wrong. It always is. Because we have to allow a grace period for people to get evaluations in. Okay? So, just understand. The last scheduled day is May the 2nd. Okay? Woo! I know, right? 1 month. I mean, really. So, May the 2nd is the last scheduled day. If you have makeup days, your last day will not be May the 2nd. It'll be some other day. And we will figure that out. So, you need to go in, you need to make sure your hours are logged, you need to take care of that. Okay, final seminar. We will meet together one more time before we graduate as a group. It is going to be on Thursday, April 26th. I'm going to send all of this to you, but it is going to be from 9 to 11, and I can't remember if it's in this room or if it's upstairs. Who said that's my birthday? Did somebody say that?
No, I said I'm doing my spring program.
You're doing your spring program and it's her birthday. There we go. Well, we'll have cake.
Here's
We'll
where
figure it out.
here's where that night, or that day.
Yeah. It is from 9 until around, it's like usually from 9 to 11. Okay? So here's what we do. So it's from 9 to 11. If you haven't missed any days this semester and you don't have any days to make up, go out to lunch with your friends and have fun and have a great afternoon. If you have a day that needs to be made up, you can go back to school for the afternoon and I will count it as a full day. See, I'm not absolutely horrible. I'm just a little bit horrible. So, I will let you guys know. That's why I let you know that during that week of where you stand. So, on that day, we typically have a guest speaker. We had a great guest speaker last semester. He is in an exchange program from Japan. He talked about schools in Japan versus schools here. It was probably one of the best things that we've had. I mean, it was super interesting. I know you're thinking, yeah, I'm sure. No, it was great. And everybody was super engaged. It was really cool. We do some evaluations that day and surveys just on the program as a whole. And we just want feedback from you. And I look at every single one of them. Please don't think I just put them in a drawer or we don't ever pull them up. We look at every single one of them on that day. We also, we award our Student Teachers of the Year that day. So those are announced and recognized. And something else. Oh, and on that day, you will let me know what counties you plan to apply to if they are local counties. And once everything is completed and letters of completion are being sent out, then I will send your evaluations out to those counties. That way your applications can go ahead and be processed. So we try to get that ahead of, get on top of that. A couple other things. We have an undergraduate ceremony on the Friday prior to graduation. So that's going to be on May 4th. Now, is anybody here from my cohort? Southern students, I don't know, I'll just calculate it. We're going to have a special one for you all down there, so you don't have to come up here. So see, works out. This is going to be in the Don Morse room, which is upstairs. In the past, we have not ticketed for this, and it's a nightmare because it's only seats so many. It seats like 600, and there are always people standing, and it's just, it doesn't work out. What we are gonna do, they decided today, is they are gonna allow everyone 5 tickets. Now, before you start mumbling, let me clarify, okay? So there's gonna be a site, I think it's an Eventbrite site, I'm gonna send it to you. You get on there, it's a drop-down box, name, how many tickets you need. Let's say Cade needs 2 and Nathan needs 5. Nathan needs 7, okay? So Cade gets his 2 and Nathan gets his 5, and then Nathan sends me an email and says, Ms. Priest, if there are any extra tickets, I need 2 more. Okay? And so then what we will do is the week before, we'll see how many seats we've sold, how many seats are still available, and then I'll go on that waiting list and send those out. Okay? Makes sense? Yes.
Do we have an official time for that yet?
Yes, 6 p.m. You wear your regalia. We recognize our student teachers of the year. Everybody is recognized individually, walks across the stage. We'll have special music. We'll have guest speakers, which we're working on right now, which if everything works out on the guest speaker front the way I want it to, it's going to be great. And so it's just a really good night. It typically lasts about an hour. We have refreshments afterwards. It's a great time if you want to take really good pictures by the fountain or really good pictures downstairs. You know, it's not a huge crowd. It's not like a Saturday graduation. So it's a good opportunity for you to have that intimate setting with a lot of the faculty. You know, most of the faculty come, and so it's a great night. I always enjoy it. So if you have any questions about that, let me know. I'll be sending out more information closer to time on that. And I think I'm on the last thing. My office moved. So, I know you're like, oh, great, who cares? No, if you're looking for us, if you're looking for the dean's office or the Scopes office, you need to go downstairs now instead of going upstairs. I know. Did anybody in here ever have classes in the basement? Just maybe stragglers, okay? So you do not know how terrible it was, but it's pretty great now. And so you need to, I mean, even if you're just on campus, come down and look at it, because hopefully in a year, the rest of the building is going to look this good. You know, great carpet, good paint, all of those things. But if you enter Jenkins from like this side, like let's say you're walking from the back of the Student Center over, you know, the Jenkins, the main door there, and you go straight down the steps there, I'm right on the right. There's a big sign that says Scopes. Tammy Aliff and Tanya and I are in a shared space. No, but it's actually worked out really well. So like when you're bringing Tammy, you know, things for certification, or if you have a question for me, we're all in the same space, so it's good. Candace is right beside of us, and then the dean's office is on down that hallway there. So it's pretty cool. Yes?
What's the room number?
B7. Actually, I think it's going to be, hang on, let me turn on presidential voice. It's going to be lower level 7. They don't want to call it basement 7 anymore. I don't know. Anyway, I think it's whatever the elevator ends up saying. They put a new elevator in. Pretty cool. It's not working yet, but it will. So anyway, there are some upgrades. So, okay, before we disperse, let me make sure we're good on time. Yeah. Before we disperse, and there's some supervisors here, I want to meet with my people. You know, they probably want to meet with their people. Any questions for the good of the group?
Hairspray's coming up the last 2 weekends of April.
Awesome.
I'll send out a flyer as soon as I get it to all you guys. I'm actually Edna, so it'll be even funnier.
That'd be great.
So the kids are getting really pumped. Hopefully we have lights because the theater blew up the dimmer today.
Oh, great.
So, good times.
And I will just share this. Every spring, I take my daughters and we go to whatever Huntington High is putting on, and it's always great. Little Mermaid, we still want those Heelys. Who had Heelys in here? Y'all know what I'm talking about. All the fish swam on Heelys, so we still want some of them out. So definitely, that's great. Thank you for sharing. I know what I want to say. Cooperating Teacher of the Week. If your teacher is great, send me an email and tell me. Tell me why they're great. We really want to recognize our people. Okay? Yes, sir.
Does that be your current?
No, it could be the one you just came from. Yeah. If you know, it's better if you're with them now, but you know, it's okay. I've been going out to schools every Friday, trying to, and awarding this. We typically, I'll just show you real quick, in case you haven't looked. I take them a goodie bag that's got some College of Ed stuff in it. I take a picture. We, do this thing. This is actually Casey Moore. She teaches at Kellogg now, and this funny story. She was in my classroom the 1 year I taught high school, and I worked with her mom, for a bunch of years. And so it's just cool to kind of see some full circle things. Who in here's nominated their teacher and they won? I know there's a few people here. A few people right there. So if your teacher's great, let me know, because we want to recognize them, okay? And if they're not so great, you're going to let me know at the end of the semester, because I send out all that stuff too. Okay, any other questions? Yes?
There's a thing in live text called a KA.
Already wrote it down. And I think all of my special ed folks have that. I'm going to find out what it is. Ignore it. I don't even know what it is. And if you look, it says fall 17. So that's kind of weird anyway. So yeah, so it's disregard unless you hear from me. Okay, yes?
So for the capstone interview, we have the option of doing it on a laptop, iPad, or whatever, but can we also bring in one of the trifold poster boards, or?
If you want to, that's completely up to you. If you want to make like a packet or a binder or a folder, whatever you feel most comfortable with, I think works. So, yes?
In the past, I've seen folders that other people did. Did they just go through the questions and just kind of make one based off that?
Yeah. I think that's the best. If you will just, I'm just going to say this for the 10th time, read the rubric and go by it, One of my class I'm teaching right now, we were writing a lesson plan, and I said, read the rubric and write the lesson plan, I want to write my work from what I'm going to be scored on. So, same thing for this. Anybody else? Yes?
Is the next one graduation day mandatory?
No, it is not mandatory, so you don't have to attend. It is a great night though. And typically we have almost 100%, if not, attendance, so that's always good. Anybody else? Yes?
I don't know if this is right. I thought I read somewhere where if they hand you something or something, you choose who does that. Am I completely wrong?
Okay, I'm not sure. I think that might be like for hooding, like at the graduate level. Now for this, like our ceremony, in the past few semesters, Dr. Reed will read the names, and Dr. Eagle will hand, and we typically just do like a scroll or something and go from there. So, it's not your real diploma, but anyway, that comes in the mail. So, anybody else? We good? All right, if you have any individual questions, come see me. This will be posted online, this whole thing, I know, in case you need to review it. Anything else, just let me know. I don't want to